morning, everybody. Thanks for joining in on today's presentation. I hope everyone is continuing to be well and staying healthy during these very unique and challenging times that we all seem to be facing. I'm Laura Schuler, and this is a webinar series that focuses in on the details and the habits of play that I think are really critical for bringing about not only consistency within your team's play, but ultimately success within your programs. Just want to thank the Coaches Site for having me present again. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm going to be presenting on a topic that I'm super passionate about, and that happens to be penalty killing. If you have any questions, please feel free to, as we go along, put them in the Q&A site, and at the end of the webinar here, I will be happy to try to answer as many questions as they come up. But for this presentation, I'm going to focus in on a small detail, a trigger that I think is really, really important for creating success on your penalty kill. And I'm going to start by saying that every good penalty kill has specific triggers that you'll use to initiate pressure that hopefully increases your chance of turning pucks over and ultimately producing puck possession and therefore increasing your penalty kill success rate. And these are some of the triggers that I like to use with my penalty kill teams. Some of those triggers are used outside the defensive zone. Some of them are used inside the defensive zone. I'm sure this is nothing new to you. An example of pressure outside the D zone is some teams like to really pressure up the ice and not allow your power play anytime to set up. Other teams like to really stack the blue line and make it difficult for the power play to get any kind of an entry on you. All of these things will, allows you to spend less time in your zone and hopefully increase your penalty kill success rate. Inside the zones, general triggers that teams like to use, any kind of bobble pucks, whether it's a missed shot, missed pass, or off of any kind of a rebound. Those are indications to get numbers on the puck right away, as well as when you see players are chesting the board. So anytime you see numbers or you think a power play doesn't have great puck support, those are indications where you might, again, want to try to pressure the puck, turn those pucks over, and create puck possession and get pucks down the ice. But for this presentation, you'll notice that all of these triggers, and I like to call them pressure triggers, are either when the puck is, again, outside the zone, or if it's inside the zone, the power play doesn't have good control. And so what I want to talk to you about is when the puck is inside the defensive zone and the power play has good control. So I call these control triggers, and in particular, this is about stick reads and reading the half wall player. So we're going to jump into this, but before we get into any video, I just kind of want to quickly go over with you the penalty killing system that I like to use. We use the coin, the push down, but the whole premise of our kill is we want to try to keep pucks to the outside as much as possible. We don't want pucks coming through the middle of the ice. And in particular, we want to try to create as much pressure as we can on this half wall player by pushing down our F1, pushing down on this half wall player and forcing this player to move the puck into an area of the ice where we can essentially create even numbers in front of our net. So in this situation, when our F1 puts pressure on the half wall player here, our F1's responsibility now is to take that half wall player. Our strong side D is going to take that goal line player. Our weak side forward is going to take the bumper on a 1-3-1, for example. And our weak side defenseman here has any pucks that goes through the blue paint through to the back door. So essentially that's what we're trying to do on our penalty kill. In different situations, our weak side forward and our weak side D, their roles here will be, sometimes the weak side forward here is going to pick up the back door. This presentation isn't going to necessarily focus in on that. We're going to more focus in on this half wall player And again, when the power play has full control, when to make that push down so that we can create even numbers in front of our net. So here we go. We're going to get into our first clip here. These are all from the last Olympics. We're in red here. We're Canada playing against the US. The US is in white. And I'll let this play out for us here. Let me take down my volume. So right here, you can see that the US player, all right, has full control of the puck here. But the key thing that I want us to focus in on is her stick positioning right there. Okay, right now the blade of her stick is in an open position. And this is a trigger for us, the stick read right here on the half wall player. So essentially, as the US player rides up the wall, our strong side forward wants to ride up the wall with her. Okay, and right here, as she comes up the wall and closes her stick right there, that's a trigger for us to now pressure this half wall player. So essentially what we want to try to do here is we're going to create a line between our half wall player and our quarterback. And what we want to do is we want the tip of the blade of our stick to either be inside this line or right on the line. Okay, we don't want to go over the line. We either want to be on the line or inside the line. But right here, as soon as the US player closes her stick, that's a pressure trigger for us to now force this player, get on her right away, and try to make her move the puck so that we have equal numbers now on the ice. So if I back this up a little bit, you can see right here that we have 4 one-on-one situations where our strong side forward has the half wall responsibility, our strong side D has a goal line player, our weak side forward has the bumper, and our weak side D has anything coming through the back door there. So we're able to create 4 one-on-one situations. And right there, you can see that the US doesn't get much off of that opportunity at net. So here's another look. Again, we're in red here playing against the US. The US is in white. We lose the draw here, and the US gets pretty good control of the puck right away. So right now, we do a good job right here where the blade of the stick of the US player, okay, is in an open position. So if we were to draw a line between her stick and where the quarterback is, again, we just want the tip of our blade to be inside this line or on this line. All right, to create that illusion that that play going north is not there. And as soon as the US player right there closes her stick, you can tell Laura Stacey, number 7 right here for us, has already put on the brakes, and now she's going to come down hard on this US player and force them to make a play that they don't necessarily want to make. And they do, they end up releasing the puck here, and our number 3, our weak side D, is able to jump that pass right there, get stick on puck, and we're able to create a loose puck behind the back of our net in a turnover. So we got one more clip of this, and the last 2 clips that I just showed, in particular, we looked at a lefty coming up the left side of the wall on the half wall and a righty coming up the right side of the wall. In this clip here, we're playing against Finland, and right here, you'll notice that this is a lefty coming up the right side of the wall. So a little different in the last 2 situations. And this is a really great read here by our number 2, Megan Augusta. The one thing that I want you to notice, so we're playing against Finland is in white here. And I want you to notice they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, okay, in the defensive zone. But what I want you to watch is this kid here. She's a lefty coming up the right side of the wall. And so basically, as soon as she closes her stick, she's going to close the blade of her stick here by putting her body around the puck. So right here, body goes around the puck, and that's our trigger. So when you have an opposite-handed player coming up the opposite wall there, lefty coming up the right side here, as soon as she moved her body right here around the puck, you'll see our number 2, Megan Augusta, right there, is now going hard at that player and forces this player to move the puck. And we do a great job here. Our strong side D, all right, it's going to try to jump the pass, gets a good stick on puck here, and we're able to create a loose puck behind our back of our net and get the change on the penalty kill there. So hopefully those last three clips, again, illustrates when to pressure when a team has good control. Hopefully you're able to read those controlled pressure triggers with the stick when the stick is open versus closed. This clip here is a clip of when you actually overcommit on the half wall. So common mistakes that you can make. And here, playing against the US here, they're in white. We lose the draw. And I want you to watch right here. Right here, our number 40, okay? Blair Turnbull, when she comes up, if I'm going to draw a line here between the US player's stick and the quarterback, this is the common error that teams can make. You'll notice that the blade of her stick now is outside that line. And again, as I mentioned before, we either want it to be just on the line or inside the line, because the minute you go outside the line, and if a team happens to get a puck through to you, not only have they gained inside positioning on you, but now you're outside the puck line. You're no longer in the shooting lane, okay? And now they're going to have a lane through to the net. So what has to happen? Now we have to have this player shift, which we do, into the shooting lane to try to create the illusion that that play is no longer there, okay? Which we do a good job of. But the key thing that I want to show you is that when you overcommit on the half wall, now you've created a rotation in your penalty kill. And now you have numbers at your net that is a disadvantage against you. Okay, so we have a 3-on-1 in front of our goalie. This is not essentially what we want to create. However, it is really important that you know your personnel. You got to know what their strengths, what their weaknesses are. Because I'll tell you right here, Blair Turnbull is one of our best penalty killers because she is so fast. She is so fast. And we also gave our killers the green light that if the distance between the half wall player and the quarterback is small, so if that distance is small and you think you can still try to do something to disrupt the play, we gave our players the green light to go ahead and do this. Because like I said, watch these first three steps that Blair takes off the wall right here, 1, 2, 3. And right here, she's able to just influence the play enough with a good stick on puck that causes the US player to miss the net. And we're now able to be in a better situation and reset ourselves. So that's a common mistake that can potentially happen. And again, it'll be your decision of whether or not you give your team a green light to be able to, pressure that situation if the distance is small. But if it's great, I definitely would recommend making sure that you hold up until you see that stick positioning closed. So last thing that I just want to quickly run through on this presentation, just have two quick clips here, is we're playing against Finland here. Sometimes you're not going to be able to prevent pucks from going through. Sometimes they're going to get up. So although in this situation, we want to try to keep pucks on the half wall here. Sometimes pucks are going to move up to the point and they're going to go right around the horn. And it's so important that your penalty kill pairs and your penalty kill unit understands what your top rotations are. Because like I said, you're not always going to be able to keep that puck outside that dot line and, keep the puck out of the middle of the ice. Sometimes it's going to come around the horn. But when it does come around the horn here, first of all, I want to make sure that I illustrate this. This is a great read here. Again, you're making the exact same reads. Blade of the stick is open here. So we want to come up, Laura Stacey, with a long stick and try to prevent this from happening. We're in the shooting lane here, but sometimes pucks are going to get through. And when they do get through, we want to eliminate how much your goalie ends up moving east to west. So they've already moved east to west once. We don't want them to move east to west again. So it's really important that we now eliminate any passes going back across the green here, back across the Royal Road here by our F2. When you come up into this play, we want to make sure the tip of our blade of our stick here tries to get in this next flanker to flanker pass. And we do that just enough here, all right, where we get the tip of our blade of our stick in that lane. We're able to create a turnover and we're off to the races going the other way. And then one more clip of this. Again, we're playing against Finland here. We're in black, where Finland ends up with pretty good control of the puck here. We got a good stick. You can tell the blade of her stick is open. We got our number 19 here, Brianne Jenner, with a good stick, trying to prevent passes from going up. Although it still gets there, we're in a great shooting lane here. And again, blade of the stick is open. So we're going to try to eliminate any passes going through the middle of the ice here by having a nice long stick here. But like I said, sometimes it's going to get through. When it gets through, it's so important, again, that your teams understand the rotation. Our goalie's already moved once east to west. We don't want her to move a second time east to west. So really important, your weak side forward here has got to come up in a bit of an angle at this player to prevent that puck going back through, which we do. And you got your D now being the second best goalie in the world, coming out and fronting that shot, which we do, and we're able to block that and influence that play and get it back down the ice. So one of the things that I think is really important is if you want to have an effective penalty kill, you have to know how to practice it. And we'll spend a lot of times either at the beginning of our practice or right at the end of the practice. We will take a quick 5 to 10 minutes and just go through our penalty killing routes quickly over and over and over again. And so we have 4 top rotations that I like to use on my team. But generally speaking, when we do this, we'll just go through 2 of them. And what we like to do is we'll take our 6 top penalty killers. We'll have 3 or 4 of them set up as if they're in the power play, and we'll do a 3-on-2 situations where we start the puck here on the half wall, and we work our strong side penalty killer here. We'll get them to create get their stick, the tip of the blade of their stick, in that passing lane between the half wall player and the quarterback. We'll start the puck here on the half wall. We'll move it up to the D. The D will do an over and back where they take a couple strides to the middle and then zip it back down to the half wall here. And right here, we'll have our penalty killer read that stick positioning. So as soon as it closes, we'll have them push down hard, and we finish that rep with our half wall player taking a quick shot on net. Everybody resets, and now we will do a switch. So we'll jump from an over and back to a switch, for example, and this time we'll move the puck up to the point. Point's going to haul all the way to the middle of the ice. This time we have our F1 stay with her, and then we transition the puck back to the half wall here. And now we need a switch between our F1 and our F2 to try to keep this puck outside the dot line there. So our F2 now goes hard, and our F2 now is making that exact same read. As soon as she sees that blade of the stick close, she's going hard. Our F1's coming back through the middle of the ice there, and we finish with a shot on net. And now you'll notice F2 is in the strong side position. F1 is now in the weak side position. So we start that again for our 3rd puck back with the over and back. And then the 4th puck would be the switch. So now our penalty killers are getting an opportunity to both defend the strong side of the ice and the weak side of the ice. And we'll just go through that. Everybody, all of our pairs will run through that real quick once. And again, just takes 5 to 10 minutes. And then maybe then another day we'll come back and we'll run through 2 of our other top rotations. In this situation here, we have a D to D long, and we have when we stay on the rotation. So with all these things, again, it's 4 pucks. It's real quick. It gives each of the penalty killers an opportunity to defend the strong side and defend the weak side. But the key thing in all of this is really, if you want an effective penalty kill here, it's just so important that you run through your routes over and over and over, so your units get used to really used to reading off of each other and knowing what their routes are. So more than happy here. Thanks so much for being a part of the presentation. I hope that gives you a good sense of understanding controlled pressure triggers and stick reads, and when you can influence the play and hopefully increase your penalty kill percentage here. I'll try to open up some of the Q&As. If we don't have any, then not a problem. So this one's from Michelle McAteer. If the power play likes to run off the goal line or swing behind the net, what adjustments do you make? Great question, Mac. I would say that one of the things here is, again, I think it's still important to make sure you're making those stick reads. And again, all good penalty kills have different triggers that you use of when to pressure the puck. But for our kill, I like to say that your penalty kill try to dictates the power play. So you're trying to essentially make them do what you want them to do. You're not allowing them to set up. So I wouldn't allow them to run some of those plays off the goal line. Again, when we do that push down, we're pushing down into a situation where we're creating equal numbers for one-on-one situations. And we're eliminating all the passing options that they have. And if anything, you're trying to create a numerical advantage in front of your goalie. And if you count your goalie, you actually have, a 5-on-4 situation in front of your own net. So hopefully that answered your question there. This one's from Cassie Turner. As you shifted to this, what did you find was the most challenging part to adjust to? I would say, Cass, that I didn't really think it was all that challenging to shift to this. I think the common the one video clip that we did share of us being a little bit overzealous on that half wall, so overcommitting on that half wall too early, and not making that proper stick read. And that's when we actually ended up giving our players the green light too, that if the distance between the half wall player and the quarterback was short, that if you felt like you could influence it and you were close enough where you'd be able to still be able to try to get back into the shooting lane, we did make that small adjustment. So the second part of your question, also, are there any stats you use to help teach your penalty kill and reinforce your control trigger moments or other components to your penalty kill? Just obviously, what is your penalty kill percentage? But no, we really didn't. We just used a lot of video to reinforce that. Showed video over and over again when we were effective at the push down and forcing our opponent into making plays that they didn't want to make, where we could intercept those puck movements. So here, next question, Sarah Hillworth, what skills do you look for in choosing your penalty killers? Great question. For me, it's really about, you need smart penalty killers. Like if you want to have an effective penalty kill, they have to be really smart. They have to be able to make those small stick reads, because penalty killing is all about taking away time and space in the defensive zone. And so it is just so important that you have really smart penalty killers. And for us, we would always try to use our quickest and our fastest penalty killers. This one's from Lisa Haley, and I believe we also have some questions in the live box there, so I'll go try to get to those as well. But how would you adjust your PK philosophy if or when there was an obvious threat from your opponent. So, Hirikoski from Finland. Yeah. I think I would just go back to, um, you got a player like that, and on the US, I would say almost every player is a Hirikoski, but, um, again, I like to say that, it's our PK that tries to control, your opponent's power play. Like, we don't want them to set up. The whole thing is to try to keep that puck outside that dot line. Don't let any pucks come through the middle of the ice there, and that's why it's so important to know your top rotations and for everybody to understand what those rotations are, because you're not going to always be successful in keeping that puck outside that dot line, but it's so important that you know to th- that you try to create the illusion that those passes aren't there through the middle of the ice, or through to a player like her up top. You want to try to keep pucks away from her for sure. So we'll go over to the Q&A stuff. I think there might be some questions here. So it says here from someone, I know the talk was on the half wall defense, but you covered it so well, I don't really have a question on it. My question is around the net zone D, how to engage or not engage, um, or sorry, how engaged or not should they be with the net front forwards? And second part, what would triggers more engagement than not? We don't allow our net front to engage with them whatsoever, unless one of the first clips that I showed there, unless we're able to push into an even number situation, a 4-on-4 situation there, and our strong side. Hopefully, you can picture this. Our strong side defender, our strong side D. Um, we talk to them about when the puck gets pushed low. First of all, we want to try to jump that pass if we can. If their um, power play, their net front player is closer to the net, then we always tell our D that the first steps that they have to make is back towards the goal post and then out at that player. And that allows us to create 4 one-on-one situations. Then our net front D, who has any pucks going through the back door, can look to turn and pick up sticks so that nothing gets through there. And everybody, our F2, our weak side forward, has that bumper position, sticks are off the ice, and we've taken away all the passing options. So that would be the only time when we really engage. Otherwise, you've got to be in a fronting position so that if obviously if pucks do get through, we're in a situation where, like I said, we can be that second best goalie, on with the national program, and knock pucks down and not allow any pucks to get through to our net. This next question is from Sarah Hodges. How far down do you want your forward to push down? And what if the puck gets back high? Yeah, so if that puck, I showed a clip where the puck obviously did get pushed back up high, but we were the distance was small enough that our F1, our strong side forward, was still able to get back into that shooting lane and influence the play there. If the distance is great, then we tell our F2 just to take one step into the shooting lane, and our F1 is going to now recover in behind our F2. And our F2, who is now taking that one step out, so basically what they want to do is take away that shooting lane, and now whichever way the puck moves, if it moves left or right, our F1 is now following that down. And again, we're in control until we see that blade of the stick close, and once it closes, we go hard at them. And again, when you go hard at them, you just want the tip of the blade of your stick in that passing lane. And that is obviously because if pucks happen to get back through, if you are in good positioning, now you can step back into that shooting lane. So hopefully that answers your question there. But you're going hard at them to force them to release the puck, to put pressure on them, force them to get uncomfortable and release that puck so that you can intercept. Everybody else has got to be ready, just like that one clip that I showed of Jocelyn Larocque on the weak side. She jumped the pass. So everybody else has got to think jump. As soon as you see the push, everyone else is thinking jump the pass wherever that pass goes. This one is from Maura Crowell, and it says, once your forward pushes down and the puck stays in the corner, where do you have her go? Passing lane to the quarterback or closer to the half wall player? We basically, that's a good question. Normally, she's right on that half wall player. If the puck gets released from the goal line back up top to the quarterback, and sometimes that happens, our F1 just releases and gets back into the shooting lane and starts everything over again, depending on now your rotations of what happens with the puck. But we'll try to, again, keep that puck out of the middle of the ice as much as possible and try to force that puck to go back outside that dot line. Hopefully that answers your question there. And then last question, I think, we still have maybe two more. Is your forward responsible for the half wall player if she attacks the net after the push? Yes, 100%. And then one last question here. Great job, coach. I don't have questions, but I can say this kill, when executed correctly by players, is highly effective and fun to coach. That's from Matt Woodard. Matt and I worked really closely together last year, and thanks so much, Matt. Yeah, I agree with you. It really is a fun penalty kill system to run. And the kids really like it too. They get used to running their routes, and they know their routes like the back of their hand. And I think the reason why they like it so much is because at least they have the illusion that they're in control. They're in control of that power play, and that's essentially the power that you want to try to give your killers, and have them run with it and have fun with it. So thank you everyone so much. I think that's all of our questions here. I really appreciate everybody taking time this morning to come and be a part of this webinar series. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Details Matter, and looking forward to doing another presentation with you all again soon. Take care and have a great rest of your day.